All right, welcome on in everyone to this episode of First CSP, the channel dedicated to bringing you the first council shoulder patch issued from each council in Scouting America, both past and present. Today we're going to take a look at Sequoia 27 out of California. This council was formed in 1925 as the name change from Fresno 27. And we've got in current collecting guides, the first issue is just listed as T1. However, in older collecting guides, that was originally divided into two variants, the T1A and T1B. We have those to take a look at today, so let's head on over to the patch table and take a look at the T1A to begin with its yellow border, thin brown inner border, light blue background, yellow scout emblem there at the center, red letters, brown pine cones. The measure on this is 135 millimeters from left to right and 60 millimeters from top to bottom. The first ones, T1A and B, both being that size, are by today's standards relatively large. Most of our standard CSPs, got a San Gabriel here for comparison, are normally 133 by 52. So going all the way up to 60, this is a tall patch for sure. Now, the distinction for a T1A and T1B is going to be the color of brown for that inner border and the pine cones. You can see it on the back here. This is a gauze cloth back for the T1A Sequoia. I'm going to move that up just a little bit so we can get another 60 millimeter patch here towards the bottom. And this is a T1B. Our T1B is actually in very good condition. And you can see the difference in the colors of brown there. So here, again, our T1B is yellow border with thick, very dark brown inner border, light blue background, yellow scout emblem there at the center, red letters, and very dark pine cones. So this is the T1A at the top, where we have a thinner border and a much lighter brown. And then the T1B here at the bottom. Also a gauze cloth back. Again, I would assume that these were produced around the same time. So the only twills that we have from the early period of Sequoia are these T1A and B, and then the T2. The main distinction between them is going to be the sizing. So these are very big, and then we come in with the T2. I'll just set this T2 on the top there. You can see how much smaller it is. The T2 listed as having a yellow border, light blue background, yellow scout emblem, red letters. The blue will vary in shade, and we will be able to show you that in a moment as well. But you can see it's the same imagery on the T2s. They're just much smaller, especially because they're 54. So they're just, you can tell the difference in size from those 60s on the T1A and B. Let me go ahead and pull the T1A and B off so we can take a look more closely at the T2. We actually do have two T2s. They did say, again, even in the older collecting guides, that they varied in shade, and you can see the difference in the shades of background blue for these T2s, but you know they're T2s because they're so much smaller than the T1s were. Take a look at the back here real quick. There's the top T2. Here's the bottom T2. These are also a bit thinner. I don't know if that's just how they feel like they've become because of handling over time, or if they were actually produced a little bit thinner than the T1s. Hard to say. I don't know that in its entirety, but we obviously had multiple production runs on the T2 as well. It was just never broken into variants of T2A, T2B. They just listed them all as T2s with a variation range in the shade of color for the twill there. As I was talking about in a couple of videos before, I generally do use the classification used in the collecting guides, but I don't often talk about it. These are example, all of these T1s and T2s, of twill patches where you can see the raw fabric and then there is some embroidery. Most of the patches produced today are fully embroidered, and so they would be S patches or solidly embroidered patches for classification purposes. After the T1AB and the T2, then the next patch from Sequoia is a solidly embroidered patch with a design change. The S3, we don't happen to have that here today, but it would be distinctly different from what we see here on the first ones. Go back, finish out putting up that T1A and B. These can occasionally be a little bit harder to track down. Not as many of these were produced. So we are, again, very pleased to be able to bring them to you today on the channel. And we're always most excited when we have the distinctions we were able to show you. For example, the older collecting guides did break these into T1A and B, and so we are able to show you what that T1A and T1B do look like right next to each other. Again, there's not as many other places where you will see them on the same screen, under the same lighting, etc., to make those comparisons and contrasts for the patches. So that's one of the things that we're really proud of and enjoy doing here on the channel. We hope you as a viewer at home are enjoying that as well. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please always feel free to drop them in the comments below. We love the information also always provided by our community and really appreciate those of you supporting the channel. We're back every single day with brand new episodes, and we will be back tomorrow with another brand new episode of First CSP. We do hope to see you there. Remember, you can always check out all of our back issues 24/7 on the channel at your convenience. So we do hope if there's episodes you haven't seen or things you want to go back and rewatch, it's always there waiting for you. And we hope that future generations will be able to enjoy this as we make our small contribution to preserving some of the history of scouting from Scouting America. Thank you again for tuning in. I'll see you guys back here on the channel, same time tomorrow. Till then, have a great rest of your day.